That is lovely, isn't it?
Lovely, isn't it? First thing on a Sunday, nothing better.
Oh, talk about like it just wakes you up, doesn't it? Sunday morning, wake up, bam, little coffee. Doosh,
You know, coffee also gets the whole system moving as well.
Where are you? Just stop. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday morning show. Good morning, Leicester.
Good morning, Dan.
How are we?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You warm enough? Got your woolly hat on?
Yeah.
Got your snood on?
Well, yeah. I walked up to work and it was chucking it down, so the hair was
all a bit off point.
Yeah, I'd done it this morning as well. I was looking okay, but it's just all over the place, and I just thought I'd put a hat on because we are going outside shortly. Aren't we?
We are going on an adventure. However, before we go on that adventure, this week on the channel.
Yep.
So we've had the China fleet. I know you didn't make that China fleet trip, but we went and did the crazy golf, which has actually gone down quite well. It was actually a bit of footage that I kept, and I just thought, right, well, I've got loads going on. I'll save it for kind of a rainy day or a rainy week, which is now this is that week. Yeah. So we put it out, and people enjoyed it. It was just a bit of fun, you know. So yeah, hopefully that
we have quite a good mixture on the channel, don't we? Did the ball review as well? That was on
golf
this
ball
week.
Review, the Titleist golf ball.
Yeah.
Now there's some interesting comments that come back about the old Titleist golf ball, and the reality is, whether we like it or not, the old golf ball will go. So we better get used to the new one.
You've got no choice, really. People were saying, "Oh, we're going to change over," but they'll run out of supply soon.
Yeah, unless we buy up all the old balls, which I'm definitely not going to do that. So, and you definitely aren't going to do that.
No.
So we are going to move over to that golf ball, and that's why the numbers that came through for you, you know, they were a bit inconsistent. So we were getting some I think, readings that didn't necessarily reflect what the ball performed like when we played at Parle and Kenfig and Ashburnham. And we did put the ball through its paces.
Yeah.
You know, it was a fair review.
Yep.
But what's noticeable is slightly softer and slightly lower in the spin, possibly throughout the irons, maybe to generate maybe a little bit more yardage. So I think where the numbers were a bit low for you, and certainly they were for me in the wedges and things, I think the more we do with that golf ball and the more we play with it, I think the more we'll get used to it.
Depending on how long lockdown lasts for, I probably won't be switching over to that ball till probably middle of the year, maybe even later, because I've still got 4 or 5 dozen of the last year's model of ball. So I will be hitting all them and using all them until I've...
Yeah, well,
so it depends how much golf. It might be the whole year, mightn't it?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Right, you have an apology to make.
I do, yeah. I want to apologise to Louise Selby on behalf, for not. I did say to her that I would give a birthday shout out to her husband Mark on last week's show. We filmed the show, and then I text you after saying I've forgotten to do it. We couldn't redo the show, so we decided to include it this week's show. So it's a couple of weeks late.
It's a belated birthday.
Because it was his birthday on the 17th of January. And he was the big 36.
A big 36. I wish I was 36 again.
So happy birthday, Mark, from the 17th. Hope you had a good birthday.
Well, as good as it can be in lockdown. Correct. Because I think we've... did I have my birthday in lockdown?
October, yeah, we did, yeah, because November was out. November was lockdown. No, maybe
I was out of lockdown, but I certainly didn't do anything for it. But hopefully you had a good time, and yeah, we do apologise for that being slightly late.
Yeah.
Right, I think it's time for us to go on this adventure. So, some time ago, and we can't quite work out exactly when it was, but it was a few Sunday morning shows ago, we did a bit of an insight into where we live here in Torquay, which then turned into the lost golf course, because we found, obviously, at Paignton, the Torbay Golf and Country Club. If you haven't seen that video, have a little look up here, and we'll pop that up there for you to have a little look at. But we found a lost golf course. Now, since then, I've been doing quite a lot of research into lost golf courses, and there is hundreds.
Yeah.
Bernie, we could literally go filming all year doing about lost golf courses around England, around Scotland, around all of the UK, and further afield into Europe, if we wanted to. Okay?
Can I just put some out there?
You don't want to.
I'd rather go play some golf courses.
But there is a lost golf course very, very close to where we are here at Torquay Golf Club. And it's at Walls Hill, which is probably a stone's throw from this golf course right here.
Yeah.
So we're going to head over there and just share with you some of the research that we've kind of done and looked into of this old golf course, which, yeah, let's just head over there now and take you over there and share with you what we found. we have made our way up to Walls Hill, and this is
have.
just beautiful. Look at the boats out there. Golf course, Torquay Golf Club is actually directly behind you there, Bernie, if you have a little look.
It's on the top of
Yeah,
it,
can you
isn't it,
see
where
over the top
red
on
cliffs
there?
are?
So that's the red cliffs that are kind of coming down there.
That's the end of Pedestal Road, which backs onto the golf course. So the golf course is up the left-hand side of that, as you look.
So this golf course then, when did it start?
So it was founded in 1882.
Okay.
So a little bit of time before the actual existing Torquay Golf Club, which we now find at Pedestal Road.
Yeah, which Torquay Golf Club started in 1909 as a full 18 holes. But this wasn't 18 holes, was it?
No, it was a 9-hole golf course. The land is very flat and easy walking. I think that's probably one of the main reasons that it was actually located or situated where it is now.
So in 1882, this would have been the first golf club in the Torbay area, because you've got Torquay, you've got Churston, but those golf clubs didn't open, certainly Churston didn't open until 1890. So Walls Hill, playing golf out here, which is actually just a 9-hole course, and it was known as Torquay and St Mary Church Golf Club, also known as Walls Hill Golf Club, or even Babbacombe Golf Club, because obviously Babbacombe is literally just on the edge here where you live.
Correct.
But you've never been up here?
I've not been this far, no. I mean, the existing cricket club, which is in the adjacent field here,
Yeah.
I played cricket and skittles at that particular venue.
Yeah.
But I've never been this far onto the sort of peninsula, onto the end of onto Walls Hill, really.
So what do you think made this place close down? I mean, it carried on going, didn't it, for up until 1936?
1936, yeah. I mean, it was a
So
slow
beginning of the World War II.
Yeah, there was a slow decline in membership. Apparently, as golf became more popular, people also were doing other recreational activities and walking and playing football in this particular area. Apparently it got a little bit overpopulated, and it was almost a bit dangerous to play golf amongst the walkers, amongst the people playing other sports. I see as well from a little bit of research that they decided that they weren't going to play weekend golf. So Sundays was complete no-go, and then Saturday mornings they allowed golf on this particular area, but for the afternoons golf was not permitted.
And if we think about what that cricket ground is just down the road there, I mean, the cricket was first played here in 1893. We had a quick chat with the chairman who was emptying a few bins, and we were just having a catch up with him, but he was saying that he wasn't sure whether cricket was actually played in this area in 1893, even though history tells us that cricket was played at Babbacombe in 1893. But definitely there are pictures of them playing cricket in 1902, which is in the dip over on the right hand side, just over these trees here, which Lester's talking about. But you got to think, cricket was played Saturday afternoons, Sundays.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, you can see there that they're kind of, the council land, they're intertwining with people walking, people playing cricket, probably kids kicking footballs around, you know, so it was probably got quite dangerous, I would say.
Plus the membership started to increase. I think it went from sort of less than 100 up to sort of 150, 160, which, although it doesn't seem like a massive increase, if you think that's, you know, that is sort of 60% in increase in membership, will then make it busier, being only 9 holes as well, and the continuing people coming up and using the area, it would become a little bit overpopulated.
But you got to think, back in those days, it was an elitist sport.
Yeah.
You know, so you only had 100, there was probably only 100 professional people in this area. You're talking about doctors, you're talking about solicitors, you're talking about, you know.
I think maybe because it was 9 holes, looking at the fees and what people would earn, it was quite accessible. So it was probably your early 9-hole golf courses which would have got the general people to play golf, rather than being an 18-hole golf course and being expensive to play.
So the other bit of research that we've done is that Torquay Golf Club, so the club that we're obviously attached to now, is that they actually managed this site for a little while, didn't they?
Yeah.
Certainly from the greenkeeping point of view, and enabling them to look after this land as well as over at Torquay. But do you think this then turned into more of a starters course, that maybe that they saw what was available maybe at Torquay? Because you got to think, back in those days as well, you had artisans.
Yeah.
So you had artisans at Torquay, which were they were basically, I would say, the blue collar part of society that used to come on and do some work on golf courses to help pay for their membership, and they were never allowed into the clubhouses of the golf clubs. You know, we've still got an artisans area. We haven't got artisans at Torquay anymore, but we've got an artisans clubhouse, haven't we?
Yeah.
So this probably became a feeder course for a period of time to get in at Torquay.
It did, yeah. I mean, the reason that one of the reasons the course started to suffer was with the extra traffic and people up here. We're actually going on the greens and playing football and playing cricket on the greens and walking across the greens. The condition of the course deteriorated so rapidly that the membership completely left and more or less joined Torquay. I think the last sort of membership was less than originally when they started. It was like 60-70 people. So to actually financially keep this golf course going, and with the extra additional hazards and hassle from the people and the walkers, the course was basically given notice in the early 1936, the early summer, and closed in September of that year.
So looking at some of the pictures that we've found,
yeah,
that church in the distance there is very much in a lot of those pictures, isn't it?
Yeah, that's St Anne's Church in the
distance.
You can see that in some of the old original pictures that we've got from sort of the late 1800s.
Yeah.
So I think this, where we stood now, would definitely be part of the golf course.
So did they produce any sort of quality? You know, we always look through the history of what was the course record, and did anyone actually come out of here and produce some good golf?
I mean, it's always good to look. You can almost tell by the standard of a golf course with what sort of golfers it produces.
Yeah.
But there's a guy called C.V.L. Hooman,
right?
Who was the last amateur course record holder, and he played off a +3 handicap.
+3?
Yeah, he represented England in an international match against Scotland in 1909. He also was captain of Oxford University's cricket team, so he was a really good sportsman. But yeah, I played off +3 and he was an England international.
And he probably that course record probably still stands, yeah. I would think.
It's not going to be beat now, is it?
No, it isn't.
It almost looks like you can see parts of it, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I think you've spotted something here, haven't you? I mean, what about this area here? I mean, this is pretty flat, isn't it?
I mean, when going back to Churston where we played, the course was on the old common land, and you can still see some of the tees where the ground's been flattened and almost raised slightly, and where the greens are. But there's a few areas, if we look along the golf course here, or look where we think the golf course was, you can probably see where some of the fairways were. There's a few raised points which are sort of a little bit out of sync with what you'd expect on this type of land. So I'd say this was probably looking like a teeing area. Certainly there's a few sort of channels that go through where people have walked now that look like there could be fairways. I mean, it could run up here and back. I mean, I don't know the layout of the golf course, but there's certainly enough room for, you know, a hole running adjacent to each other, isn't there?
Well, you got to think back in those days, they tried to use the contours of the land as best they could, because you got to think they didn't have the machinery that we've got now to come out and manoeuvre earth and things like that. So a lot of it was done with horse and cart. So, you know, to be able to create the natural flow of the land and use it to their sort of best way they possibly can for a golf course, I actually find it like even more kind of organic in some ways. Like I really like the fact that they try to use the natural contours as much as possible with what you see nowadays with the modern tech of moving mounds and things like that. I love the fact that this was kind of like that.
I mean, it mentions as well they played round the quarry, which the quarry is literally down here on the left hand side.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And also the stony bunkers, so I guess that they just used the areas and how the land actually was to create hazards. Rather than digging out bunkers, they would use what was already here.
Oh, well, that ended up quite a wet adventure. We got rained on.
It was good though. I've learned a little bit about the history of the golf course. I mean, I didn't until we did some research recently.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware that there was a golf course there or
on your doorstep.
Yeah, I mean,
on your doorstep.
I literally, it's probably 50 yards from the front door.
Yeah.
That golf course. Obviously, I knew about Wolves Hill. I knew the cricket club because I played cricket there. And I played Skittles last year when we weren't in lockdown. But I had no idea that that was actually an original golf course. And also did a little bit more research, which we didn't mention before, but that was apparently the first golf course on the south coast of England.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
1882 that golf course opened up. I mean, that does stretch back. I mean, I think about, 1864, I think Royal North Devon was kind of brought in, and that's obviously the oldest links golf course in England that we have. So, you know, you're less than 20 years away from then being one of the oldest golf courses in the country. But to have it on the south, so the whole of the south coast, is that what you're saying?
That's what it says. I mean, you'd even think that there would be like a plaque up there, wouldn't you, in recognition of that? Like it's such a. I bet if we went out there and asked 100 people who walk on that area what this was originally, I bet they wouldn't have a clue. I bet there'd be 2 or 3 people, perhaps.
And actually, like when I was secretary of Torquay Golf Club, like it was a bit of a thing, you know. It became a bit of a conversation about Wolves Hill. I was doing some looking through some of the archives of the golf club, and when the golf club kind of started up here, and how it was kind of formed, and those golf courses kind of ran a little bit side by side.
I mean, if you think about it, if you go sort of early sort of 1920, 1930 time, you'd have had Torquay Golf Course here.
Yeah.
You'd have had Walls Hill Golf Course, which we've got.
Yeah.
The Palace Hotel, which
that's a different story, another story altogether. The Palace Hotel.
I mean, that had a 9-hole golf course there as well, short course.
Short course.
So you'd have had sort of free golf areas or golf venues or golf courses within half a mile of each other. I mean, you could hit your driver from the Palace Hotel into Walls Hill, and you could probably hit. You'd take a couple of shots to then get up to the other Torquay Golf Course. It's amazing, isn't it?
I love the history of the game, and I find it so fascinating when you go back and see those. How those golf courses were formed, the type of land that they used to be able to create it, and I find it all so fascinating when it comes to going through the research that we've done with it. I think it's brilliant, really, really good. Well, hopefully you found that quite enjoyable and entertaining.
Different,
obviously, it's something slightly different. We're trying to come up with new ideas that we can bring, but I think from the feedback that we had about course design, about course management, and golf courses behind the scenes as such, I think those are really good subjects to talk about.
Yeah.
Something that we're both quite interested in, and also like the history and those forgotten golf courses. I just think it's so nice to be able to go back and look at that.
It just shows as well how many more golf courses and golf places there were than there is now and originally. I mean, I know we're getting new ones built, but there was a lot more sort of golfing venues, wasn't there?
Yeah, and there is actually just around this area here. I mean, there's one over in Kingswear that used to be Kingswear and Dartmouth Golf Club, which I want to go and have a little look at that. I think we're going to have to get quite deep into the fields to find that one. And there was one in Totnes.
Yeah, and also I know when I was sort of younger, one of our friends, my godfather actually owned a holiday camp in Brixham with his friend at the time. And when the other guy bought him out, he wanted to put a golf course across Berry Head on the top, little 9-holer, and he had plans to do that, but never went through. But he was trying to put a golf course up there.
Yeah. But it is what I find really quite interesting is that they put them on the top of cliffs.
That's the views, and a lot of the time you can't do a lot with the land.
No.
So you wouldn't get permission to build houses or etc. like that. So to me, a golf course almost enhances the natural environment and the beauty of it, doesn't it? And displays it. I mean, those views at Walls Hill are unbelievable. I mean,
stunning.
Imagine
absolutely
that as a golf course up there.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
So during lockdown, we've been doing the live show, haven't we?
Yeah. So second one we've just done. Yeah.
With Alex Evans. Thanks, Alex, for coming on. He's a good bloke.
He is top lad, and it's nice to. And I will do more with Alex next year. Like, he's a top lad. He's a great golfer. Obviously, his insights into the way his game is going, and also his insights into with Paul Waring, and talking with tour players as well. I mean, he's got such a good opportunity there to get some access to so many good players.
We did do quite a bit of film with other people this year, but obviously that was restricted by COVID and travelling and stuff like that. Obviously, we followed all the rules and regulations, so we do plan, don't we, to meet different YouTubers and different people in the world of golf. So hopefully next year. I mean, I've never met Alex.
No, you've spoken to him a few times.
So it'd be good to meet him, play golf with him, and do some filming.
And then the following week coming up,
some big.
Well, we've got 2 weeks
that,
coming up now where we've got possibly a little bit of access with Titleist coming up this week coming. So I don't know how that's going to form yet. Whether that's going to be more wedge orientated and talking about wedges. So I'm going to get the guys off tour to come and have a chat with us about wedges or putters. So it might be Scotty Cameron's guy, Henry, or Will from Vokey. So we're not sure how that's going to pan out, but that's the plan. And then the week after that, we've got Pete Finch. Pete Finch is going to come on.
Lee's mate.
Yeah, Lee wants to have a chat with him again. So
we're just leave those two too?
I might just do that. I might just set it up and just let them go.
There's a bit of a bromance there.
There's something going on there.
But it's all Lee though. It's all from Lee. It's unacquainted love.
So we will, obviously, those lives, we're just trying to see how they go. Ultimately, the idea of those is during lockdown, we're going to try and create them once a week. But after that, maybe that'll turn into every couple of weeks or once a month, like I've possibly said before in previous
Just trying to get content out, isn't it?
Well, it is, and still to engage. To engage. And again, if you guys have got any questions regarding that sort of stuff, or you want to see something slightly different on a live, that we can get access to things, especially with lives, because it's easy for those guys just to dial into on their laptops and get involved with us. So hopefully they'll become a good thing. I enjoy doing them.
Yeah,
You know, I enjoy
fun, aren't
doing
they?
it.
They flow quite well.
Like, yeah, exactly right. So there it is. That's the show. I don't know really what's going on this week coming up. I've got so much footage at the moment that I'm trying to piece together with different edits and things like that. And do you know what I'm thinking as well?
No.
I'm thinking about getting you to do some editing.
No.
I'm going to get Les to do some editing. We've basically taught him how to use the camera, so he is very good at that now.
Can we?
And now we're going to move you on to editing.
So can we get our subs below 20 back to below 30,000? That's the only sub we lose.
Bring your laptop in, you're going to be starting to edit. Guys, thank you very much for taking the time to watch our Sunday morning show. As always, stay safe out there, and we look forward to seeing you again next Sunday.
See you next Sunday.
See you next Sunday.